All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a topic a lot of you have been asking about, AI and warfare.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
We've got this source that goes beyond just, how AI is being used in the military. It's asking a much bigger question, actually, like, does war even make sense anymore? In the age of AI, I mean.
It's a really interesting take. We hear a lot about the dangers of AI on the battlefield, for sure. But this source, it kind of flips the script, argues that AI kind of shows how absurd war is in the first place.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. So this source, it starts off by painting this super vivid picture of what it calls the algorithmic battlefield. Picture it. Swarms of drones, all powered by AI algorithms that can predict, every move the enemy's going to make and decisions that happen in, milliseconds.
Right. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
Totally.
Except it's not science fiction anymore. We're already seeing this stuff out in the real world. In Project Maven, for example.
Project Maven, remind me what that was again.
That's a Pentagon project. Uses AI to analyze footage from drones.
Hmm.
And it's scary accurate, really. These algorithms, they can tell the difference between, say, a person and a goat.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah. And that's just one example.
Wow. So, in a war zone.
It helps them identify threats, basically.
That's crazy.
And way faster than a human analyst could ever do it.
That makes sense.
Then you've got things like Israel's Harpy drones.
Oh, yeah, those are wild.
Basically autonomous missiles they are. They lock onto radar signals.
Yeah.
And they operate on a scale and speed that we've never seen before in warfare.
It's mind-blowing, the stuff they're coming up with.
But here's where it gets a little unsettling.
Okay.
The source talks about that incident in Libya, remember? Where a Turkish drone supposedly carried out an attack all on its own, and there were civilian casualties.
Yeah, I remember that big controversy.
Raises some really serious questions about, who's actually responsible when an algorithm makes a deadly mistake. Can you really hold a machine accountable? Can a machine even understand the human cost of war? I mean, it's pretty chilling to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying, actually. The idea that a machine is making life or death decisions without, any understanding of the consequences, it makes you wonder if we should really be giving algorithms that much power.
Exactly. And the source's point is, focusing so much on AI for war, it says a lot about us, about humanity. I mean, we're throwing billions, trillions even, at developing these super advanced technologies, but for what? To destroy things. And meanwhile, the world's got all these other huge problems we need to deal with.
It's like we're stuck in this old way of thinking about conflict, even when we have the tools to, solve problems in completely different ways. I mean, to be fair, the source does bring up the argument that AI could actually save lives, right? By replacing soldiers on the battlefield.
Yeah, that's true.
Fewer human casualties.
But the source also points out that even if you reduce the risk to soldiers, what about civilians? What about the impact on infrastructure?
Yeah, the collateral damage.
Exactly. AI systems, they don't discriminate. A drone strike might take out a military target, sure, but it could also destroy homes and schools and hospitals nearby.
That's the thing.
So while the AI itself might not feel remorse or anything like that, the humans who get caught in the crossfire, they definitely do. They feel it.
And it's not just the human cost either. There's the whole economic side of it. This source, it actually dives into the economics of all of this, mentions that just last year, the U.S. spent over $1 billion on AI military projects.
$1 billion. It's crazy.
It's a mind-boggling number.
It is.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, it's a drop in the bucket compared to the trillions that are lost globally because of war. Rebuilding destroyed cities, caring for refugees, the ripple effects on economies that can last for generations.
Yeah.
It's just astronomical.
Yeah, you start to think, what could we do with all that money if we actually used it for something else, something good?
Exactly. That's what the source is getting at. I mean, look at what AI is already doing in other areas, right? Increasing crop yields to fight hunger.
Right, or developing new medicines.
Personalized medicine even.
Yeah.
To cure diseases.
It makes you wonder, are we using our most powerful tool to build or to burn?
That's the question, isn't it?
It really is. So we've talked about the algorithmic battlefield, the ethical stuff, the economics. Where does the source go from here?
Well, it gets even more interesting, actually. It starts to argue that developing AI for warfare, it actually shows how contradictory war itself is.
Ooh, okay. I'm intrigued. How so?
Well, think about it. AI, at its core, it's all about collaboration. The biggest breakthroughs, like the models used for language or the ones that help with that protein folding stuff, those all came from people working together all over the world.
That's true. You've got scientists and engineers from all these different countries sharing knowledge, pushing the limits of what's possible with AI.
Right. But when it comes to AI for war, it's all about secrecy. It's about competition.
Each country wants to hoard its own advancements. Like, AI is some kind of weapon, not a tool to help everyone.
And that's the irony, right? We're stuck in this arms race, pouring money and resources into stuff that ultimately makes the world less safe.
It's like classic human short-sightedness, especially when you think about the huge threats we all face together, like climate change.
Exactly. So you could almost say that AI itself is a sign that war is becoming obsolete.
Wow, okay. That's a bold statement.
It is. And in the next part, we'll dive into some of the sources' ideas about how we can break free from this whole conflict cycle and actually use AI for good.
All right, I'm definitely hooked. Let's take a quick, let's just keep going. I can't wait to hear what solutions they came up with.
So we've kind of established that pouring so much into AI for war, it's a bit backwards, right?
Yeah, especially when you see how AI is all about working together in other areas.
Right. And this source, it doesn't just point fingers. It actually offers up some pretty cool alternatives.
Okay, good. Because I was getting a little, doom and gloom there for a second.
Yeah, no, it's hopeful, actually. So one of the things it proposes is this idea of an AI Peace Corps.
An AI Peace Corps, huh?
Yeah, imagine that. Scientists and engineers from, all over the world working together, not on weapons, but on solving, big global problems. Using AI, of course.
I love it. It's like a team of AI superheroes or something.
Right.
Instead of fighting bad guys, they're fighting climate change or curing diseases.
Exactly. And it's not as crazy as it might sound, actually.
Yeah.
We already do stuff like this. Think about the International Space Station, right?
Oh, yeah, good point.
All these countries coming together to achieve something big for all of humanity.
Right.
So why not do the same thing with AI?
Makes sense to me. So how would this AI Peace Corps work? Does the source get into the details?
It does. Suggests that even just a small chunk, like redirecting a tiny bit of the global military AI budget, that alone could have a massive impact. Imagine, the brightest minds in AI, but instead of building weapons, they're working on, early warning systems for natural disasters.
Oh, wow.
Or algorithms that can, figure out the best way to get food and resources to people to prevent famines.
So instead of spending all this brain power on weapons, we're using it to actually help people.
Exactly. Taking all that energy and using it to build lifelines instead of,
Yeah.
And there are already examples of this working in the real world, too. Look at how AI helped us with COVID,
Right.
Things like Blue Dot, that AI platform. They were able to spot the outbreak early on, even predict how it was going to spread.
Gave us time to prepare.
Right, a part of a valuable time. So we already have proof that AI can be a real force for good, especially in a crisis.
Yeah, okay, that's a good point. But, you can argue that even if everyone has good intentions, getting countries to work together like that, it's tough. There's still so much, mistrust between nations, especially when it comes to sharing really advanced tech.
Oh, for sure.
Competition for resources, different political ideas. These are some pretty deep-rooted issues that cause conflict. Does the source address that, the root causes of war?
It does, yeah. And it says that AI can actually help us deal with those root causes, specifically when it comes to, competition for resources.
Okay, how so?
Well, think about it. AI can help us map out where water is scarce, or predict droughts, even figure out the best way to distribute food so everyone has enough.
So instead of fighting over dwindling resources, we could use AI to make sure there's enough to go around.
Exactly. It's a whole different way of thinking, right?
Yeah.
AI can help us shift away from that zero-sum mentality.
Where one country wins and the other one loses.
Exactly, and move towards a win-win kind of situation,
right,
where everyone benefits.
I like that. It's like AI could help us evolve past war. like it's making us grow up as a species or something.
It is, in a way.
Yeah.
And, there's also a moral side to all of this. The source actually asks a pretty thought-provoking question. In an age where AI can do so much, isn't it isn't sending people to kill each other just morally outdated?
Wow. That's a heavy question. And it's true. When you think about it, it seems almost, barbaric, I guess. We have the technology to solve problems peacefully, but we still keep resorting to violence.
The source is saying that war, it's a choice. It's us holding on to, like these old patterns of fear and mistrust.
Instead of embracing, a better future.
Exactly. A future where AI helps us move beyond those limitations. So, let's paint a picture of that future. What would a post-war world powered by AI actually look like?
Yeah, I'm curious. What does the source say?
Well, it talks about a world where AI helps us reach our full potential. Like imagine AI tutors that personalize learning for every student.
Cool.
Or healthcare systems that can diagnose diseases before you even show symptoms.
That would be incredible.
Right. We could take all the money we spend on weapons and use it to end poverty, invest in clean energy, even explore space.
It's an amazing vision. But, okay, realistically, how do we get there?
That's the big question, isn't it? The source says it starts with changing the way we think. We have to stop seeing war as, like, inevitable. We have to realize that in the age of AI, war is just, well, it's absurd.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about changing our mindset.
Exactly. We need to start demanding that our leaders invest in these collaborative solutions that actually improve life for everyone.
Shift the focus from, like, fighting each other to working together.
Right. And it doesn't just have to come from the top down either. Everyone has a role to play. You can support organizations that are doing good work with AI.
Yeah, like donate to them or volunteer.
Exactly. Or talk to your friends and family about these ideas. Contact your representatives. Tell them to support policies that, encourage global cooperation on AI.
So it's about changing the conversation, making people aware of what AI can do. Not just the scary stuff, but the good stuff, too.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't just about technology. It's about our values, our priorities.
It's about recognizing that we're all connected.
We're part of a global community.
And we have the power to choose a different future.
A better future.
All right, so we've talked about the problem. We've imagined some solutions. Now it's about actually taking action.
Exactly. Before we wrap up, though, I'm curious, what does the source say about AI's role in all of this? Like, any final thoughts?
Yeah, good question.
It says that AI, this technology we created, it's actually showing us how unnecessary war is. Like, it's holding up a mirror to humanity.
It's like we invented this incredibly powerful tool, and we're still trying to use it to solve problems in the most, primitive way possible.
That's a great way to put it. AI, it's all about collaboration, innovation, problem solving. It's a reminder that, when we work together, we can achieve amazing things.
And maybe, just maybe, it's the key to finally ending war for good.
Maybe. It's definitely food for thought. Right?
Okay, so, big question now. Where do we go from here? I mean, we've talked about the algorithmic battlefield, the ethics, the economics, but how do we actually make this vision of a world without war, how do we make that a reality?
It's a tough question, no doubt. But this source, it offers some really interesting ideas. It kind of boils down to changing the way we think about war. We got to stop thinking that it's just inevitable, like it's human nature or something.
Yeah.
You got to start seeing war for what it really is, especially now with AI. There's a failure of imagination. That's what it is.
A failure of imagination. That's interesting. I've never thought about it like that. What do you mean exactly?
Well, think about it. All the brain power, all the collaboration that goes into developing AI, even when it's, for the military. It's incredible. And if we could take all that energy, all that creativity, and point it towards the real problems facing humanity.
Climate change, you mean?
Yeah. Climate change, poverty.
Yes.
Disease.
It's like we're so busy fighting each other, we're forgetting about the real fight, the fight for our survival.
Mm-hmm.
And AI, this tool we created, it's showing us there's another way, a way where we can collaborate and innovate and make a future where war is just unthinkable.
Exactly. But it's not enough to just, talk about it. We got to do something. And this source, it actually outlines some specific things that we can do.
Okay, so practical steps. Like, what can our listener do, someone who's, been listening to this whole deep dive and wants to make a difference? What can they actually do?
First things first, stay informed. Learn about the issues, learn about the tech, the organizations that are using AI for good. The more you know, the more you can, advocate for change.
Right. It's hard to fight for something if you don't understand it.
Exactly. So read up on it, listen to podcasts, follow the experts, have those, tough conversations.
Okay, what else?
Support those organizations that are already out there doing the work. There are so many groups, research labs, nonprofits, startups. They're developing AI solutions for everything. Disaster relief, disease prevention, sustainable farming. You can donate your time, your money, your skills. whatever you can.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. And even if you can't donate, there are other ways to help. Volunteer your time, spread the word on social media, tell your friends about them.
Yeah, I get it.
Every little bit helps. And don't forget, you have a voice too. Talk to your friends and family about these issues. Talk to your elected officials. Tell them you want them to support policies that prioritize global cooperation on AI.
So it's about changing the conversation, really, shifting the focus from fear and division to hope and working together. It's about remembering that we're not, helpless. We have a say in this. We can choose a different future.
Exactly. And the source, it has this really powerful closing message. It says that AI, this technology we made, it's a reflection of us. It can be used for good or bad, for building or destroying, and it's up to us to decide.
So if AI is a mirror reflecting back at us, what do we want it to see? Do we want it to see conflict and destruction, or do you want it to see a world where war is just a bad memory?
That's the question, isn't it? And the answer, it's not written yet. It's up to us to write it through the actions we take.
Well, I think this deep dive has given our listeners a lot to chew on, and hopefully a lot to do. And remember, this isn't just about technology. It's about our values. It's about what kind of future we want to build.
It's about remembering that we're all part of this one big, messy, amazing human family, and that maybe, just maybe, AI can help us remember that, help us come together.
Well said. That's it for our deep dive on AI and warfare. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep learning, keep asking those tough questions, and keep pushing for a better future.